Hey, welcome back to Reddit Cheating Wife, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to the channel for cheating stories like this.
I, 26 female, realized I had up with my BF, 27 male, married dad, 50s male, before we got serious. I tried to describe the scenario in the title, but it came out as strange. As it should be, I suppose. I've been experimenting with a dating app on and off since 2019, largely for, if I'm being honest. I met my now DF on there in the end of 2019, but we didn't become official until April 2020. We've been living together since July, and everything is going swimmingly. I can picture myself with this man in the long run. Having stated that, I linked up with a dude from the same app 5-6 times around March 2020. Let's give him the name Donald. Donald, on the other hand, was a gorgeous, fit, and attractive AF man in his 50s who looked 40. We up 4 times in his house, or what I believed was his house, and once in his squad vehicle when he was working nights. Remember, this was and I didn't want to know anything about his life, marital status, kids, or anything else. We lost contact when I informed him I was in a committed relationship. Now fast forwards to January 2021. We avoided going to my boyfriend's parents' place for the holidays by the grace of God since my boyfriend couldn't leave work. As a result, meeting the parents has been postponed till today. He told me a lot about his family, but I'd never met any of them. Until tonight, that is. My guy shared some photos of himself with his mother, sister, brother, and father. When I got a sight of his father, my eyes must have exploded out of my brain. He's the one. He's being. My lover observed my response and inquired as to what was wrong. I murmured something about his brother seeming like a high school classmate to him. Now for the second issue. On Thursday, we're scheduled to go to his parents' house for a barbecue. As it turns out, his parents are married and apparently, happily together. They are also highly religious and conservative in general, so the concept of them being into polyamory or swinging is out of the question. I've considered texting Donald and essentially informing him what's going on. That might backfire and irritate my guy since I didn't tell him beforehand. I simply know it's going to be uncomfortable in any case. Should I simply keep my mouth shut and not inform my boyfriend? Update. To avoid a big bullet, the BBQ was cancelled since my BF was required to work obligatory overtime. I, on the other hand, didn't want to wait for the shoe to drop and started to work something out. I don't believe my partner, who is a lovely guy, deserves to live with the knowledge that his father his girlfriend. None of this is his fault, and he does not deserve to suffer as a result of it. Even if it means telling a falsehood, it would also jeopardize his connection with his father and potentially the whole family. That's something I can't do. You may sit on the tallest horse and tell me that I should burn it all down, expose the adultery, and dump my guy, but this is real life. As a result, I contacted Donald, and we met. Part of me wanted to think it wasn't the same person and that I was hallucinating. When I inquired whether he had a son, he replied that he did. When asked whether he was married, he said yes. When asked whether we had met at his residence, he responded yes. I showed him a photo of my partner, and he confirmed that it was his son. That's a bummer. He didn't seem worried, instead laughing at the bizarre coincidence, particularly given we were in a big metropolis, not some remote country. With all that's transpired between us, I told him I couldn't continue seeing his son and acting like we're strangers during family events in good faith. I probably wouldn't mind if it was simply a one-time connection from a long time ago. However, this is all relatively recent. And we've done things together that I wouldn't want my partner or anybody else to know about. There are no risque photos or messages from either side, and we always chatted on the phone. We spoke for a bit, and he essentially advised me to do whatever I thought was best. That's exactly what I did. When I came home, I sat down with my partner. I told him I believed we were going too quickly, that I wasn't ready to meet his family yet, and that we should take a step back for a while. He handled it effectively, with minimal drama. I felt like a jerk shoving him away, but it was better than the alternative. That isn't the tear the band-aid and scorched earth approach, but it is what I believe is best given the circumstances. Time will tell whether I am correct. But I'm ready to accept that risk if it means defending my lover and his family from evil. Story 2. Cheating boyfriend who will never admit it. Idiot girl too weak to leave him. Of love. So, to cut a long story short, I know my partner is cheating on me and has been. I also know he hasn't slept with anyone else and that it's all been via messaging. He doesn't have a vehicle, and other than when he's at work, we're always together. It would be extremely difficult for him to meet up with someone. We are hurting financially, so there is no way he could do it while at work with the job he has without me noticing a difference in income. Now for the full version of the tale. To say the least, their relationship got off to a difficult start. It took 4 meetings for me to finally see him in person, and I ended up simply going to his home, which I had repeatedly claimed I would not do of the risk. But he turned out to be extremely kind and we hit it off. I was 24, a BBW, and a virgin. I was sod when I was 12 years old, so I wasn't in a rush, which is also why I have binge eating and weight problems, but that's another story. We had the following time we met. It was unsettling and frightening for me, but it was my decision, and he did his best to make it a positive experience for me. We've been dating for around 14 months. We live together and have discussed our future plans, including marriage. Maybe I was simply young and naive, but I really believed he was the one for me. I'd never met somebody with whom I got along so well. Even to this day, we can converse for hours on end and never grow bored. We have comparable interests, but enough differences to keep things interesting. We were far from ideal, but I was content with him and had no fears about his being unfaithful. If he had proposed marriage to me, I would have said yes without hesitation. Then there was the month of August of this year, 2021. An anonymous Twitter account, later proven to be my former best friend. Take note of this because this person will return, was given to me, and something about it didn't seem right. An account had been following my lover on Twitter, and I was suspicious. It had roughly 3 followers and was only following about 4 people at the time of writing. This struck me as unusual, but my lover didn't say anything about it. Until I saw a tweet about this account being DTF. Anybody and a white male, 6'2", a little chubby, and with a thick D, I didn't think much of it. Exactly how my lover defines himself is what you're reading now. I felt a tightening in my chest as I read that, but there's still no proof right. As a result, I remembered what occurs when you forget your password. It will prompt you to text your recovery phone number or email address, and it will only reveal a part of the number until you respond. The portion it presented for this account had the same ending as my boyfriend's phone number, which was a nice coincidence. As I stood in front of him, my heart fell. While he maintained it wasn't him, I didn't have any proof, so the next day I had the account's forgotten password sent to the mobile phone number that was linked with the account. The phone began to ring in his ear. Cue the fact that he was swearing on family members and everyone else that this was not his fault almost caused us to break up. It was his assurance to me that we would be going through this with one other. That's not how I roll, so I entered into the account and went through the whole process from beginning to end. Even the photographs with my boyfriend's tattoos in them made it evident that it was my boyfriend who was posting them. I was on the verge of ending things with her again, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I find out a few weeks later that he has found that a colleague has hacked into his phone, along with the phones of 3 other employees, and that this has happened to him. I chose to believe and continue. At the very least, I thought that if it was him, he would give up after all of that anguish and suffering. Fast forward about 2 weeks, and I'm looking at his phone to see what time it is. On Twitter, I come across a message from a user named Cumslut. In order to avoid detection, I establish a new account with the username Addict. I didn't go through it. Instead, I just handed him his phone and informed him that he had received a message from Cumslut before walking away in tears. We had another fight, and he is still denying that it is him, which I know is true, but I still love him with all I have. I'm embarrassed to admit that I'm a total stupid. The fact is that I'm dissatisfied with myself and have no idea who I am anymore. I'm utterly baffled as to how someone could concoct this kind of love, and I'm completely crushed by it. I've lost my best friend and sister as a result of my decision to stay with him the first time, and he sees how much I cry and how devastated I've become.